Yeah. Why this lady asked me to buy, if I could buy her whole grocery cart full of groceries. Like, she asked me to pay for all of her groceries, y'all. Like, what?
Sing, can nobody love me like you? Yeah. Keep on giving me life.
Hey, y'all. Hello, YouTube family. What it do, nephew? I am Kayla Fitz. I am Auntie Kayla, your praying auntie, your liberating auntie, your fine and rich and bougie auntie. I am your relatable auntie, but first and foremost, I am a child of God. So today, I want to talk about being prepared for what you prayed for and knowing and realizing when God has answered several of your prayers. It could be many times when we pray for something and then we just go on about life waiting and waiting and waiting for them to be answered. And things might be happening and we're not even realizing that we're in the middle of an answered prayer because it might not look like how you thought it was going to look. So let's get into it. So the last few years of my life, I realized that I've been learning so much about myself, so much about the things that I do like, don't like, things that I want in life and out of life, and just things about myself in general. Like, for instance, I learned that sometimes I really don't have the best patience. I don't have the most patience in certain situations, especially when I feel like my time is being wasted. That's a really big one for me. I don't like when I feel like my time is being wasted in any form or fashion. And I just get irritated very quickly sometimes. Like, when something, I just told this the other day by a friend, like, when something doesn't go my way or the way that I expected or planned for it to go, I get upset. Like, I get irritated quickly. When I feel like somebody is doing something and it's like they're not even thinking about what they're doing, but what they're doing is irritating me in some way, and it's like, why would you do that? Did you even think before you did that? I get irritated so quickly. Like, for the most part, I'm a calm, chill, laid back person, and everybody who knows me knows that. But on the moments when I be like, you doing too much, or like, you pissing me off, like, I get upset. And I feel like, yeah, like, that's not a good thing, and I've been working on it, and I've been literally praying for it, praying for God to increase my patience. Like, bless me with some more patience, Lord. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today. So that's literally what I started doing. Like, I would ask God, I would pray to God, especially recently. Like, I recently learned that my patience for certain situations is very thin. Like, in relationships, my patience can be very thin, and that's not a good thing at all, because I feel like my patience with other people would be so, like, I would have so much patience for other situations, but when it came to my partner or the person I was with, I would have such thin patience with them. And I feel like that's the person who you should be giving the most patience to. So I started praying to God, like, help me in my area of patience. God, give me patience. But what's so funny about God is that, like, he won't just be like, here, and hand you patience. Like, he gonna put you in situations to where you have no choice but to be patient. Like, he will make you be patient. He will make you grow in patience because of the situations that he puts you into. He's not just gonna give you patience. It don't work like that. So that's what I've been learning lately. So for I won't even say a long time, but for a period in my life, I'll say within the past 2 years, there were two big things or major things that I have been praying to God for. And number one was, God, can you give me patience, increase my patience? And two was, God, allow me to be a vessel in my community. Allow me to be a light and a vessel for those around me, like, in any way, shape, or form. I just asked God to let me be a vessel. And I didn't realize it then, but different situations that God has been putting me in has been doing just that. Like, they have been answered prayers, and I didn't even realize. Like, certain things started happening a lot more often, and I'm not just talking about like being stuck in traffic and being aggravated by being stuck in traffic. Like, of course that would happen, and I'll be like, I get irritated. First of all, I have really bad road rage, and I feel like a lot of people, especially young people, do. We have really bad road rage sometimes, and I can admit that. Like, I be so impatient, especially when I'm trying to get somewhere, and I feel like the person in front of me driving like they don't got nothing in the world to do at all. Like, they're going 30 miles per hour. They go on the speed limit, and I want them to go faster. And I just be like, I just be so mad because I got somewhere to be. Like, why are you not driving faster? Why are we not all in a rush? And then I had to realize, and I also heard this quote from Jim Rohn, and he was like, the next time, he was basically talking about the things that we can't control in life. And he was saying the next time you get stuck in traffic, instead of getting angry, instead of getting mad, start becoming inquisitive. Like, think about the cars around you. Like, start being curious, wondering like, I wonder where they're going. Looking at the types of cars that are around you, what kind of jobs they might have. Like, and I started doing that. I started practicing that literally in my day-to-day when I'll be on the way to work, stuck in traffic. And I'm mad that it's traffic, but I literally can't help it. You can't get out the situation anyway. Like, I can't go nowhere. So I started looking around like, okay, they got a Mazda. So-and-so has a Mazda. But they got a Toyota. I wonder what they do for work. Or they got a Chevy or whatever. I don't know. I'll just start looking at the people around me like, oh, he digging up his nose. He nasty. Like, I don't know. I would just be looking at the people around me, looking at the cars around me, and just embracing the moment. Because I can't go anywhere, like I said. I can't go anywhere. I can't change the situation. So why be mad? Like, God has me here for a reason. I'm stuck in my car right now. I'm on the way to work. Yes, it's a blessing in that itself. Because some people don't even have jobs. But, like, I just had to start thinking about stuff differently. And Jim Rohn, I ain't gonna lie, he helped me to do that, especially in those types of situations with traffic. After praying for those things, there are 3 things that I realized recently just realized that I keep running into 3 different types of situations or 3 different types of people. And one, I won't say keep, but I've ran into more than one. I'll say that I've ran into a couple of atheists. The second thing is people asking me for money or asking me for things. And then the third thing is people just telling me, stopping me or randomly talking to me, just spilling, like telling me their whole life stories, telling me everything they got going on right now, all of their problems, all of their issues. And I know I'm in physical therapy. I'm a physical therapy student, but it would have nothing to do with physical therapy. Like, literally random people, if I'm walking through the grocery store, like people sitting in a lobby in a certain establishment, a coworker just like randomly just spewing, like telling me the whole life story, and I'm just like, man, I have somewhere to be. Like, it's lunch break. I'm trying to warm up my food and go to lunch. I don't want to talk to you in the break room. I'm trying to go eat in my car. But it would just be situations like that that continuously started happening. Or I feel like when I run into atheists, I feel as though it's an opportunity for me to share my faith with that person and tell them about who God is and how he's working in my life. I'm not trying to actively persuade somebody to become a Christian. Like, that's not in my ministry. Like, no. I'm just here to, like I said, tell my story. In my first video, my intro video, I said I'm just here to tell my story, share my journey, growing closer to Christ. And hopefully it resonates with somebody. Hopefully somebody can relate to it, to everything that I go through and I've been through and I'm currently going through. So I feel like when I run into atheists, I don't try to force my religion on them, but I do, like I said, share who God is to me. Share what God is doing in my life. And I'm not just randomly walking up to them like, hey, do you know who God is? Like on Friday. I'm not just doing that.
Are you prepared for Jehovah's return? Because if you're not, I have a pamphlet for that.
Like, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like running into atheists gives me the opportunity to share God. Y'all, my iPhone needs to cool down. That's crazy. It's so hot in Florida. This lady cannot control these dogs. They walking her. She supposed to be walking them. The second thing, y'all, there have been so many people recently, like the past, like year or two, who have been asking me like for money. Like, and I won't even say, like, we all know we go to the gas station and sometimes people gonna walk up to you and ask you for money. I don't know if that's a thing everywhere, but it's definitely a thing in Florida, especially in Jacksonville, Tallahassee, the places I've been. But like, people will literally walk up to you and ask you for money. People on the streets, people, they will ask you for money. They don't care. Kids might walk up to you and ask you for $1 for a snack. It happens all the time. But it's been happening to me so much more lately, like so much more lately. And I'm gonna give a few examples. So I was at Greenwise one day. I'm doing my weekly shopping, you know, normal stuff, the regular routine. So I'm walking into Greenwise and I go in there, I'm shopping, I'm checking off my list. I'm with a friend and we're shopping. We're just grocery shopping. Get the stuff that we need for the week or the upcoming 2 weeks or whatever. And there's a lady who walked up to me. She had a grocery cart full of groceries, y'all. Full of groceries. Yeah. Why this lady asked me to buy, if I could buy her whole grocery cart full of groceries. Like, she asked me to pay for all of her groceries, y'all. Like, I'm like, baby, what? Baby, help you do what? Like, what? Y'all, this lady asked me to pay for all of her groceries. And I was just like, why would she choose me? Like, of all the people in the grocery store, she walked up to me and asked me to help pay for all of her groceries. Like, she didn't say, can you pay for 1 or 2 items? She had a cart full of groceries, like, and asked me to pay for them. And so she was a Muslim looking lady. She had on a hijab. And I just didn't know what to do in that moment, honestly. And like, I shared this story in Bible study the next week or a few weeks later. And I was like, I feel like in that moment God was testing me, because I had literally just asked, I had just prayed that prayer, asking God to help me to be a vessel in my community. And then that happened. And I feel like it was a test. And I definitely failed that test, because I was like, I'm sorry. I told the lady I didn't have no cash. And it was like, that was a fact. I didn't have any cash on me. But I could have made a way to pay for her groceries if I really, really wanted to. Like, I had savings. I had money in my check-ins. Like, I might not have had a whole bunch in my check-in at the time, but I had enough to probably pay for me and her groceries. Later on, I would have probably had to switch, you know, exchange, what is it called? Put some money from my savings into my check-in. And I might have had to do that in the moment. But I could have paid for her groceries. Like, I had more than enough money to do so. But in that moment, I was like, baby, no. I'm like, I don't know. Even in that moment, I thought about it. As soon as she walked away, she literally left her grocery basket and walked out the store. And I felt so bad. Like, I felt so bad. I was like, that was my moment. God was literally testing me to see what I would do with a little bit, to see if I would be able to store over a lot. And I was just like, I'm not gonna lie though, in that moment I was thinking about all the stories on Instagram where they be like, women walk up to them and it's really they have intentions on trying to lure you in so that they can human traffic you or something like that. Like, they have people waiting outside. I was thinking about all those things in that moment, and I'm like, I just let the fear and the fact that I was like, your whole basket, lady. I just let all of that cloud my judgment, and I was like, I could have helped that lady. Like, even if her intentions weren't as good or weren't as pure, I could have helped her because I knew I had the money. But it would have been, I would have had to go through hoops, jump through hoops, like stop my grocery shopping to pay for her groceries and then continue my grocery shopping. And in that moment, I just wasn't willing to do all of that. But when I told that story in Bible study, and even now looking back, even after she left the store and I saw her grocery cart like just sitting over there full of groceries, I was like, dang, that was a moment where God was testing me, and I definitely failed. But that's not even the only time. Like, so this same day, right before I even walked into the store, I feel like it was the same day. I used to go to Greenwise a lot, but I think this was the same day. Right before I even walked into the store that day, a lady outside came up to me and asked me for some change. And so I had change on me. I had like a lot of quarters at the time. I don't know why I had so many quarters, but I had a lot of quarters. So I gave her like $1.50 or $2 in quarters, because that's what she was asking for. That's the only cash I had on me. So I gave her my quarters, and then of course I get into the store, and then that happens where the lady is asking me to pay for her groceries. And so that was just like 2 instances in one day. And then another instance was a man came up to me at a gas station and was telling me like his house burned down, and he had like savings. Basically, he had a savings built up, but he needs $200 more to be able to fix his house or get somewhere else to stay. And so in my head, I'm like, sir, you don't have to give me your whole sob story. Like, you can just ask for the money and I'll give it to you. But a part of me believed him. He was like, I can show you my ID, I can show you everything. Like, I wouldn't just be walking up to people doing this. I honestly need it for my house or for my family or whatever. So I gave him, you know, I helped him out or whatever. But in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fail this test again. God is allowing me to be a vessel like I asked him to. And so I'm gonna do just that. One other time when I was going to get ice cream, I'm just trying to get some ice cream quickly. Ooh, this would be a twofold, because I'm trying to quickly get some ice cream. It's at a Jeremiah's that recently opened, and where I was living at the time. And first of all, the line is stupid long. It's crazy long. It's so many people. While I'm parking, even more people walking up. Groups of people walking up. Groups of young people. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want the ice cream that bad. I don't want the ice cream that bad. But I had already told somebody else that I was going to get ice cream for him too. And I was like, do I really want this ice cream? I don't know. So I'm standing in this long line, and I feel like it's twofold. This story is twofold because, for one, the line is long. I have to stand here and be patient and learn patience and grow patience. And two, there was a lady walking up to people asking everybody for money. And so she's literally walking up to anybody she can find, because she sees a whole group of people outside waiting to spend money. So she knows we have a little money, we have a little cash, we got a little change on us if we about to go in here and get ice cream. So it's like, I know she knows what she doing. So she walking up to us, and then she gets to me and she asks me, and I see the people in front of me, they're like, no, everybody's saying no, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna say yes. I don't know, like I said before, I don't know her intentions, I don't know what she about to use this money for, but I know I prayed for this, and this is God showing me, like, this is what you prayed for, so it's time to be a vessel. And then I was just watching her go to everybody else, and some people would give, some people wouldn't. And of course I have my own thoughts, but I'm like, you know what, I did my part. I'm trying to be obedient to God and be grateful and thankful for the prayers that he answers. And then the other thing with people asking me for money or whatever is family. And I feel like sometimes with family it can be the easiest to give, or sometimes it could be the hardest to give, depending on your relationship with that person and their relationship with asking you for things. And I feel like this has been one of the more challenging, I'll say, things recently, because I feel like there's certain people in my family where I feel like I give, and it doesn't happen as much now because I feel like I'm learning. And number 3, there has been so many people, and I tell people about this all the time, who randomly start talking to me, telling me their whole entire life story or what they have going on at the moment. And people be like, that's because you're so nice, you sit there and listen to them, you don't tell them to be quiet. Like, what am I? First of all, that's rude. Like, how am I supposed to tell somebody, okay, like, shut up, bye, I gotta go. And you just never know. You never know if somebody just needs companionship in that moment. Like, they just need somebody to talk to. And I feel like I'm always that person that they want to talk to. For example, when I was working as a therapy technician, I had a coworker. She was a nurse. I never met this lady a day in my life. Don't know this lady from Adam or Eve. And we were in the break room. It was lunchtime. I went in there to warm up my food. That's all. That's it. Warm up my food, get out, go eat in my car. Because that's my routine. That's what I do. And she happens to be in there at the same time. And she just starts talking to me about her family, her friends, how they treated her after she broke her leg. And asking if she should post this, if she should post that. Telling me all about her, just all about her life. I can't even remember. It was so random. And I remember thinking, like, lady, why are you talking to me? Like, you're crazy. But in that moment, I was like, I'm just ready to heat up my food and go eat in my car. You're wasting my lunchtime. Like, you're wasting my lunch break. Baby, we have 1 hour. You're wasting 20 minutes of that hour talking. And so I kept trying to end the conversation. I just kept trying to end the conversation. Kept trying to end the conversation. And, like, this was before I prayed to be a vessel. I won't lie. This was before I prayed to be a vessel. But I've always wanted that. Like, I always yearned to be a vessel of my community. But just her telling, like, she just kept blabbering. Like, there was a woman in the lobby at my current facility that I'm working at. And she just started telling me about her life story. All of her kids. All of what they have going on right now. The fact that she's having kids the same time as one of her daughters. Like, they have kids the same age. But when I be thinking back and realizing that, like, that person might have needed that conversation in that moment. And I ask God for patience, especially now. When these things happen now, which they happen more often now, more than ever after I prayed that prayer. Like, you literally ask God for this. This is him testing your patience. This is him allowing you to grow in patience. So sometimes now, when those situations happen, I just take it as an opportunity for self-work and for God work. Like, this is an opportunity for you to grow in your patience. It's an opportunity for you to be a vessel, be a person for that person. Because you don't know if they have a person at home. So now, in these answered prayers and through these answered prayers, I feel like God is also teaching me and allowing me to grow in areas of my life that I didn't even know I needed growth in. Like, I didn't even know I needed to grow in my ability to set boundaries. But with me asking to be a vessel, I feel like that's something that I'm going to need to know how to do. Like, yes, I pray and I want to always be able to be a lender and not a borrower. But in doing so and in becoming a lender, I need to know how to set boundaries, how to be discerning of who and what to give and when to give and people's intentions and what God would have for me to do in certain situations. Like, am I going to always be a people pleaser and a pushover and just allow people to ask and I give and then I'm left with nothing and then I end up unhappy in life or in certain situations? Like, no, like, that's not the life God wants for me. Certain situations are also challenging my discernment, and that is something else that I have been praying to God for. Like, give me discernment. God, I want to hear from you. I want to know when something is of you, when something is not of you. God, like I said, what is this person's intentions? What do you want me to learn from this situation? Is it of you? Were they sent by you? Were they sent by the enemy? Like, what is the reason? I feel like I'm one of those people who, I believe that everything happens for a reason and that nothing is just by coincidence. Like, that was either God or that was either the enemy. Like, nothing happens just by happenstance. I feel like anytime you're in a certain situation, everything happens when it's supposed to happen. So I pray for discernment, and it took me this long to realize that I am actually living out multiple answered prayers at one time. And I didn't even realize it because it didn't look like what I had in mind. And because it didn't look like what I had in mind, I was missing it. Like, I'm literally missing the blessing. I'm missing the answered prayers that God has answered for me. Like, God delivered, literally. He delivered those prayers, the answers to my prayers. And it wasn't until I looked at the bigger picture, at the big picture, and I looked back on situations that I've been through and like realized what they were teaching me in those moments, that I finally realized, like, hey, God is literally answering these prayers. And I'm literally living out Romans 8:8, which says that and all things work together for your good, for the good of those who are called unto him. Like, girl, wake up and realize that God is literally working everything out for you. He's literally answering all the prayers and helping you grow in all the ways that you asked him to. Even the ways that you didn't ask him to, that you realize now that you need to grow in. So like I said, I look at opportunities, I look at situations as opportunities now to improve or work on myself. Like I said, self-work and God work, because God was a patient man. He was a patient person. And if he was quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, then why should I be? Like, who am I? Am I better than God? Like, are you better than God to think that you should be getting mad quickly when somebody makes you angry? Like, if God was slow to anger, why are you so quick to anger? And Proverbs 14:29 says, whoever is patient has great understanding, but the person who is quick-tempered displays folly, which basically means ignorance. And I don't know about y'all, but when it comes to me, I'm trying to be less like myself and more like God every single day. Like, I want less of me and more of him every single day. And through adopting these different changes in my mindset, I feel like life has been becoming more peaceful, because I'm not getting angry as quickly. I'm literally thinking about situations as I'm in them, as I'm growing through them and going through them, and how I can grow from this situation and embrace it as something that God gave me, or God is allowing me to go through, versus this person just getting on my nerves. So my challenge to each and every one of you watching this video right now is to think back on some things that you've asked God for. Think about some things that you have prayed to God for. And I want you to ponder on the ways that he has possibly answered those prayers. Think about the things that have been occurring in your life lately, the situations that you've been going through, and think about those prayers that you have prayed, those answers that he is probably answering right now, the things that you are going through, and how they can help you grow and grow closer to him. I want you to look back over your situations, over your experiences in the past, and things that you have prayed for, and ask yourself, has God been answering these prayers all along? Have I been missing them this whole time? And how can I now properly steward over these answered prayers and use them for a chance of growth? That can be spiritual growth, financial growth, emotional growth, physical growth, anything that you feel like you've been asking God for. So I hope this video touched, inspired, or was just even relatable for someone. And if so, I want you all to please subscribe, and I want you to comment below, I subscribed, if you have subscribed. And I also want you to share in the comments a prayer that God has answered for you. I want you to share this prayer that God answered for you, so that others can see the way that God is moving around in the world today, that he is still answering prayers, he is still working everyday miracles, and he is still touching the lives of his followers. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Keep on giving.